When you open your eyes in the morning, before you reach for the phone, before you let the weight of the world flood your mind, you must pause and breathe in the simple reality that you are alive. That breath in your lungs is proof that God has granted you another chance, another page to write, another day to multiply what He placed inside of you. Gratitude is not some fluffy idea people toss around. It is a spiritual law, a key that unlocks the gates of abundance. The wealthy, the wise, the ones who seem to live above constant struggle, they understand this. Wealth doesn't begin with money, it begins with recognition. You cannot attract more if you do not acknowledge what you already hold. You cannot handle increase if you are blind to what has already been entrusted to you. Gratitude is what shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. When you wake up and immediately complain, immediately worry, immediately scroll through the chaos of the world, you are programming your spirit to lack. But when you stop and whisper, "Thank you, Lord. Thank you for this breath, this body, this roof, this opportunity to try again," you are telling heaven that you are ready for more. And heaven always responds to thankfulness. The truth is, most people want multiplication without recognition. They want God to pour out blessings, but never pause to honor the little streams that are already flowing. And because of that, they miss the flow. Think about it. When you are grateful for a small gift, the giver feels inspired to give you more. If a child says, "Thank you, Mom, for this meal," that gratitude ignites joy in the parent's heart, and the parent wants to provide even better next time. But if the child shrugs, complains, or demands more, the flow of giving slows down. The same is true in the spiritual realm. Gratitude attracts. Gratitude multiplies. Gratitude keeps the door open for wealth to come in ways you cannot predict. And this is deeper than just saying thank you. Gratitude is not only spoken, it's felt, it's embodied. When you rise and give thanks for your health, even if your body is not perfect, you are acknowledging that healing is still available. When you give thanks for your job, even if it is not the one you dreamed of, you are signaling that you are trustworthy with provision, and more provision can be entrusted to you. When you thank God for the ideas in your mind, you are declaring that those ideas are valuable and worth nurturing, and suddenly opportunities align for those ideas to become income. Gratitude is the soil in which wealth grows. Without it, your seeds of abundance will die before they sprout. You see, gratitude reframes the entire way you look at life. Instead of seeing obstacles, you begin to see opportunities. Instead of complaining about the traffic on your way to work, you give thanks that you even have a job to drive to. Instead of groaning about the bills on the table, you give thanks that you have the means, the strength, the creativity to find ways to meet them. That mindset attracts solutions. That attitude pulls resources toward you. People want to help someone who carries gratitude, because gratitude carries an energy of peace and honor. No one wants to invest in a spirit that is bitter, negative, and entitled. But people will open doors for someone who lives thankful, because gratitude reveals character. And gratitude does not mean you settle. It does not mean you accept less than what you are capable of. It means you recognize the value of what is in your hands while expecting more to come. That balance, contentment with the present and vision for the future, is the posture that multiplies wealth. Many in America wake up chasing money without first aligning their spirit. They wake up anxious, comparing themselves on social media, measuring their worth by the size of their paycheck. But wealth is not built in anxiety, it is built in appreciation. If you begin your day frustrated, the rest of the day bends under that frustration. But if you begin your day with gratitude, the rest of the day bends toward opportunity. The most successful entrepreneurs, leaders, and spiritual giants will all tell you the same thing: gratitude is a discipline. You don't wait to feel thankful. You choose to be thankful every morning. When you wake up, take 5 minutes and list in your mind or on paper what you are grateful for. Speak it out loud. Train your tongue to declare goodness before your day even starts. The power of life and death is in the tongue. And when you put gratitude on your lips, you put wealth in motion. You might say, but I don't have much to be thankful for. That's the deception. You have breath. You have possibility. You have ideas. You have another sunrise. Gratitude grows when you notice what you already carry. And the more you notice, the more appears. Gratitude is the opposite of entitlement. Entitlement blocks blessings because it demands what it has not earned. But gratitude attracts blessings because it honors what has already been given. Wealth is not just money. It is peace, joy, it is creativity, it is health, it is relationships. Gratitude multiplies all of these. Money is only a small part of wealth. When you are truly grateful, your wealth is holistic. You prosper in every area of life because you have chosen to see life as a gift. And in that simple, quiet practice of morning gratitude, you align your spirit with abundance. You send a signal to God, to the universe, to the atmosphere around you, that you are ready to steward increase. The person who is grateful for little is always trusted with much. And wealth, real wealth, multiplies in the hands of the grateful. The second thing you must understand about mornings is this: they are the foundation of your entire day. The way you set your intention the moment you wake up will shape everything that follows. Because intention is the compass that directs your steps. Too many people wake up already defeated, already drifting, already reactive to the world instead of proactive in their spirit. They roll over, grab the phone, scroll through other people's lives, and wonder why they feel scattered and unfulfilled before breakfast. You cannot multiply wealth if you can life on autopilot. You must command the day, and you command it by setting your intention before the noise of life sets its own. Intention is the difference between living on purpose and living by accident. You are not here to drift. You are here to dominate. When you wake up and declare, today I choose to walk in wisdom. Today I choose to prosper. Today I choose to see opportunities. You are not just speaking words. You are programming your mind. You are directing your spirit. You are shaping your reality. Your words are spiritual seeds, and morning is the most fertile soil they will ever touch. What you plant in the first hour of day will either choke you with weeds or feed you with fruit by nightfall. That is why you cannot afford to let your first thoughts be negative, distracted, or defeated. The wealth you desire responds to your level of intentionality. Intention is powerful because it aligns you with vision. Vision without intention is like having a map with no destination circled. You can drive all day and burn all your fuel, but you'll still end up lost. Setting your intention is circling that destination. It tells your mind and spirit, this is where we're headed today. Even if the entire doesn't go the way you imagined, your intention will keep you aligned. It's like a compass that pulls you back every time you drift off course. That is why wealthy individuals are so clear on their daily focus. They don't just wake up hoping something good happens. They wake up expecting it, declaring it, and aiming for it. The truth is, life will always try to impose its agenda on you. The news, the deadlines, the people around you. They will all attempt to drag you into their chaos. But when you start your morning with intention, you carry authority. You no longer react to every storm. You command peace in the storm. You no longer chase opportunities aimlessly. You attract them because you are already aligned with them in your mind. Wealth flows toward focus, not confusion. Intention clarifies focus. And intention doesn't just happen in silence. It must be spoken. There is power in hearing your own voice declare what you believe. When you wake up and speak, today I am favored. Today I will make wise decisions. Today I will increase in knowledge and opportunity. You are activating something spiritual. You are reminding your spirit of who you are and whose you are. You are not hoping for chance. You are stepping into design. Too many people sabotage themselves because their first words in the morning are complaints, worries, or doubts. They don't realize that every word they speak sets the tone for the day. You cannot complain your way into abundance. You cannot doubt your way into wealth. You must declare it. You must claim it before it manifests. Intention is also about expectation. When you set your intention in the morning, you are telling yourself to expect results. You are not just doing things to stay busy. You are doing them to be fruitful. That shift alone is enough to multiply your productivity and eventually your wealth. People who set intention don't waste time. They don't drift. They don't let opportunities pass by unnoticed because they have trained themselves to look for them. It is impossible to find what you're not looking for. Intention trains your eyes to see what your heart desires. And let me tell you this, intention has spiritual weight. God honors intentional people. He doesn't multiply aimless living. He multiplies stewardship. When you rise and set your intention, you are positioning yourself as a steward of time, energy, and opportunity. That is why doors open for some people while others remain stuck. One is intentional, the other is careless. And heaven will always trust more to the intentional. So when you wake up tomorrow, do not roll into the day as if it owns you. Own the day. Command the atmosphere. Declare your focus. Write it down if you need to. Speak it if you have to. But never start a day without clear intention. Because the direction of your wealth, your influence, your growth, it all begins with the direction of your mornings. When you wake up in the morning and begin to shape your day, one of the most powerful things you can do is to visualize where you are going. Vision is the rehearsal of reality. It is not fantasy. It is not daydreaming. It is training your mind to see the future before it arrives. The truth is, your life will always move in the direction of the pictures you hold in your head. If you see yourself as broke, struggling, and barely making it, your behavior will follow that picture. But if you begin to see yourself walking in abundance, operating in wisdom, managing wealth, and blessing others, your actions and your mindset, and even the opportunities that show up around you will begin to line up with that image. You cannot multiply wealth if you keep rehearsing poverty in your imagination. Visualization is not just psychology, it is spiritual alignment. God gave you imagination not to waste on fear, not to replay mistakes, but to preview the life He already designed for you. Every architect visualizes the building before it exists. Every inventor sees the product before it's created. Every athlete plays the game in their mind before they ever step on the field. That is why they succeed. They are not surprised by victory because they rehearsed it long before it happened. In the same way, you cannot be surprised by wealth if you are constantly seeing yourself as wealthy, resourceful, and wise in your mind's eye. The problem with most people is not that they lack resources, it's that they lack vision. They cannot see beyond where they are, and so they keep repeating the same cycles. If your mind is stuck in survival, your habits will be stuck in survival. But if your mind is saturated with abundance, your habits will begin to reflect abundance. Visualization pulls you out of small thinking. It stretches your capacity. It makes you uncomfortable with mediocrity. You start asking different questions. You start making different moves. And suddenly you notice doors that you never saw before. That is because your spirit was already rehearsing what your hands are about to receive. When you sit in the quiet of the morning and picture your future, don't just think in vague ideas. See the details. See yourself paying off debt. See yourself signing contracts. See yourself investing. See yourself being generous. See yourself living in the overflow. Let your mind taste what it feels like to walk in that life. And when you do this consistently, your brain begins to wire itself to accept that vision as reality. It no longer feels impossible. It begins to feel inevitable. That shift is powerful because once your spirit believes it is possible, your actions will line up to make it happen. You will start choosing discipline over distraction because the picture of your future wealth is stronger than the temptation of temporary comfort. Visualization also builds confidence. When you have already seen yourself win in your imagination, fear loses its grip. You walk into opportunities differently. You speak differently. You negotiate differently. You no longer walk into rooms wondering if you belong. You already rehearsed being there. Wealth flows to people who act like they deserve to manage it, not to people who constantly doubt themselves. Visualization eliminates that doubt. It doesn't make you arrogant, it makes you prepared. It gives you the posture of someone who is already living in the blessing. And let's be clear, this is not just some mental exercise. It is a spiritual discipline. Scripture says that as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. That means your inner picture eventually becomes your outer life. If your mornings are consumed with fear, lack, and failure, then that is what you will continue to multiply. But if your mornings are filled with intentional, vivid images of abundance, growth, and stewardship, then that is what you will attract. The wealthy understand this. They live it. They do not wait for things to happen. They see them happening, and then they step into them. When you visualize, you are not escaping reality, you are shaping it. You are reminding yourself that the current struggle is temporary, and that your destiny is bigger than your present condition. You may not yet have the wealth in your bank account, but you can carry the wealth in your vision until your reality catches up. That is why so many people stay stuck. They only see what is, and they never train their spirit to see what can be. Your imagination is one of the most powerful tools you have, but most people use it against themselves. They imagine everything going wrong. They imagine rejection, and they imagine failure, and then they wonder why those things keep showing up in their lives. If you are going to use your imagination anyway, why not use it in your favor? Why not use it to prepare your spirit for abundance? Why not use it to see yourself as the person God designed you to be? That is the difference between the poor and the wealthy, between the average and the extraordinary. The picture they choose to hold in their hearts. And if you discipline yourself every morning to hold that vision, to rehearse your future wealth, to see yourself walking in it before it comes, then your day will take on a new direction. You will stop wasting energy on things that don't serve your vision. You will stop saying yes to distractions. You will begin to recognize the people, the ideas, the opportunities that are aligned with your future, and you will let go of everything that doesn't fit the picture you carry inside. That is how visualization multiplies wealth. It creates clarity, and clarity creates power. When you wake up in the morning and begin shaping your day, vision and gratitude are powerful. But if you never put structure around them, they remain nothing more than good feelings. Vision without order is like a seed thrown on concrete. No matter how good it is, it will never grow because the environment is wrong. This is why you must learn to plan your priorities. Wealth does not multiply in the hands of people who scatter their energy everywhere. It multiplies in the hands of people who know where to place their focus. If you look at those who consistently increase in influence, resources, and opportunities, you will see they are not necessarily smarter than others, but they are more intentional about what they give their time and energy to. Every day presents you with 1,000 distractions, and not every distraction looks bad. Some of them appear productive. That's the danger. They give you the illusion of progress without producing fruit. Planning your priorities is about separating what looks urgent from what is truly important. Many people spend their mornings fighting fires, putting out little problems, answering endless messages, and by nightfall, they are exhausted, yet nothing significant in their life has moved forward. This cycle is a silent thief of wealth. The wealthy, the disciplined, the wise, before they let the noise of life invade their day, they choose the 3 or 4 things that matter most. These are the things that move the needle forward in their finances, in their business, in their personal growth. And because they honor their priorities, their life compounds in value. The danger of living without priorities is that you become reactive instead of proactive. You end up living at the mercy of other people's demands. Your phone rings and your whole schedule shifts. Someone else's emergency becomes your mission. Without priorities, you wake up with vision but end the day with frustration because you never advanced what mattered most. Planning your priorities sets boundaries around your energy. It tells you where to invest self so you are not drained by distractions. It is not about being busy. It is about being productive. Business is movement without progress. Productivity is progress without wasted motion. When you sit down each morning and write out the top 3 tasks that will move your wealth and life forward, you are giving yourself a roadmap. You may not control everything that happens in your day, but you control what you put first. And whatever you put first will determine what gets multiplied. If you make excuses and let the urgent overtake the important, you will keep repeating the same cycles. But if you discipline yourself to honor your priorities before anything else, you begin to see increase. It's not luck, it's order. Wealth is a byproduct of order. The world is designed to respond to structure. Even nature testifies to this. Seeds grow when they are planted in order in soil with sunlight and water. In the same way, your ideas, your skills, your opportunities grow when you put them in order. This is why writing your priorities down is critical. When it stays in your head, it gets lost among distractions. But when you see it on paper or on a screen, it becomes a contract with yourself. It becomes accountability. And when you accomplish those priorities, even if the rest of the day goes sideways, you still know you made progress. That feeling builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds discipline. And discipline builds wealth. It's a cycle that begins with something as simple as planning your priorities each morning. Think of it like this: every day is a bank account. You wake up with 24 hours deposited into your life. How you spend those hours determines your return. If you waste them, you lose them forever. If you invest them in the right priorities, you see a return that multiplies. Some people are broke not because they lack money, but because they mismanage their time. They invest in gossip, in television, in distractions, in things that drain instead of things that build. But those who treat time as currency, who plan their priorities like investors plan their portfolios, always see their wealth expand. The reason planning priorities feels uncomfortable to some is because it demands discipline. It forces you to face what truly matters instead of hiding in the comfort of busy work. But the moment you embrace that discipline, your life starts to shift. Suddenly, you are no longer chasing 10 different things and catching none. You are chasing 3 and mastering them. That mastery is what creates influence and wealth. People pay attention to those who are focused. Resources flow toward clarity. Opportunities open for those who know where they are going. When you show up each day with clear priorities, the world has no choice but to respond. So as you rise in the morning, do not allow yourself to drift into chaos. Take a pen, take a notebook, take your phone, whatever tool works for you, and define the 3 things that will move your life forward today. Honor them, guard them, protect them as if they are sacred, because they are. They are the building blocks of your wealth, the foundation of your influence, the seeds of your future harvest. Discipline is the invisible line that separates those who dream from those who manifest. Every morning when the alarm rings, you are faced with a choice. Do you stay in comfort or do you rise into calling? It is easy to talk about vision. It is easy to declare abundance. It is easy to imagine wealth. But without discipline, all of it dissolves into empty wishes. The truth is, habits shape destiny, and mornings are the proving ground for those habits. If you cannot master the first hour of your day, the rest of the day will master you. Wealth is not the product of chance, it is the reward of structure. People often look at the wealthy and assume they were lucky, born into it, or given opportunities others never had. But if you study their lives closely, what you'll discover is that their habits are ruthless. They guard their mornings like treasure. They don't stumble out of bed and drift into the day. They step into order. They create rhythm. They practice discipline. And that discipline is what multiplies their wealth over time. It isn't about one massive moment of breakthrough. It's about the consistency of small, intentional actions stacked day after day. The first thing discipline does in the morning is silence the noise. The temptation to grab the phone, scroll through chaos, and flood the mind with distractions is strong. But discipline says no. Discipline understands that the first voice you hear in the morning shapes your spirit. If you allow negativity, comparison, or fear to invade your mind before you even rise from bed, you have already surrendered authority. That is why disciplined people protect that sacred time. They choose prayer over panic. They choose wisdom over gossip. They choose purpose over distraction. Discipline also demands that you feed yourself properly. Spirit, mind, and body. You cannot pour from an empty cup, and you cannot multiply wealth if you are constantly depleted. The disciplined person wakes up and invests in renewal. They open a book, listen to teaching, pray, meditate, exercise. Whatever strengthens their foundation. Because they know that how you fuel yourself in the morning determines how you perform in the afternoon. And wealth requires performance, not just passion. It requires a strong mind that can make decisions, a healthy body that can carry the load, and a steady spirit that does not crumble under pressure. Another dimension of discipline is consistency. Anyone can wake up early one day, write a list, and feel productive. But discipline is doing it every single morning until it becomes your nature. That is where the multiplication comes from, through compound consistency. Small actions repeated daily build massive results over years. The disciplined person doesn't rely on motivation because motivation is fleeting. They rely on structure, on routine, on commitment. They know that feelings don't create fruit. Discipline does. Discipline also teaches sacrifice. If you want wealth, you cannot give your mornings away to laziness or distraction. You cannot pour energy into everything and expect to have strength left for what truly matters. Discipline forces you to say no. No to the extra hour of sleep when you know you should rise. No to the endless scrolling when you should be sharpening your mind. No to the meaningless chatter when you should be feeding your spirit. Every no in the morning becomes a yes in your future. Every sacrifice in discipline becomes a reward in wealth. The disciplined person treats the morning as a sacred meeting. They understand that God has given them another chance, another day, another set of hours, and they refuse to waste it. They structure their mornings as if the rest of their destiny depends on it. Because it does. That's the difference between the one who hopes and who harvests. Hope alone will not multiply wealth. Hope must be joined with habit. Faith must be joined with action. Vision must be joined with discipline. And discipline is not punishment. It is freedom. It frees you from the chaos of reacting to life. It frees you from the stress of being unprepared. It frees you from regret because you know you gave the day everything you had. Discipline gives you authority over your time, your energy, your focus, and eventually your resources. Without it, wealth slips through your hands. With it, wealth grows steadily, silently, consistently. This is why mornings matter so much. They are the training ground for discipline. If you conquer the first hour, you set a tone of strength, clarity, and order for the rest of the day. If you let the morning slip away undirected, the rest of the day will scatter. Discipline is what keeps you aligned when distractions tempt you. It is the quiet power behind every success story, the unseen ingredient that makes vision manifest and keeps wealth flowing generation after generation.